We're going to take a look over forming equations and also solving equations. But whenever you're forming equations, it is really important that you read your question carefully and pay attention to the wording. That is key whenever you're forming equations. So let's take a look at some kind of questions that could come up. So here we have the length in centimetres of the sides of a triangle are 3x minus 5, 2x minus 1 and x plus 1. And the question part A says, write down an expression in terms of x for the perimeter of the triangle. So the first thing you need to understand that perimeter is the distance around the edge of the triangle, the full edge, the whole way around. So we need to find out what the whole way around is. So we need to add up each of these expressions. So on the left, we've got 3x minus 5. Then over to the right, we also have 2x minus 1. So we have that as well. That's our second side. And then on the next side, the bottom side, we have x plus 1. So we want to put that all together and simplify that. So we have a 3x, we have a plus 2x, and then we have another x. So in total there, we have 6x. Now, we also have some numbers. So we have a minus 5 minus 1. Well, that would bring us to minus 6. Then plus 1 back would bring us back down to minus 5. So our expression for the perimeter is 6x minus 5. Now, then it tells us in the next section that the perimeter of the triangle is 31 centimetres. And you're asked to work out the value of x. So we now know that the 6x minus 5 is equal to 31. Because the perimeter is 31. So we're trying to find out what x is. This is a two-step equation that you're going to solve here. So if you have never done two-step equations before, you might need to go back, and there's a video on solving two-step equations. So the first thing we do is bring our minus 5 over to the other side, and we're going to do 31 plus 5. That leaves the 6x on the left-hand side. And 31 plus 5 is 36. So 6x is equal to 36. Then we need to get rid of the 6 to find out what x is. So x is equal to, and that's a multiply by 6. When I bring it to the other side, it's going to be divided by 6. So 36 divided by 6, which means x is equal to 6 centimetres. So we've now solved your x. So let's take a look at another equation involving shapes where we have to form an equation and solve it. So here we have the diagram shows a rectangle. All measurements are in centimetres, and it says find the perimeter of the rectangle. So again, the perimeter is the distance the whole way around the outside. Now, we can't find the perimeter of the rectangle until we know what x is. We want to solve x. Now, this side up here is exactly the same length as this side at the bottom, which means that they are equal to each other. So when things are equal to each other, we put a little equal sign in. So that means the top one, 2x plus 5, is equal to 3x minus 2. Now we need to solve this equation in order to find out x. And again, if you haven't done any solving equations before, you're going to need to go back and watch the video on solving equations with unknown on both sides. Okay, so let's solve this. We've got a 2x on the left hand side, we're going to leave it there, and we're going to bring our 3x over to join it. Now that is a positive 3x at the moment, because there's no sign in front of it. That means it is positive. If there's a negative sign in front of it, it would be negative, but there isn't, so it's positive. So I bring it over to the other side, and when you change side, change sign, it's going to become minus 3x. The minus 2 is going to stay exactly where it is in the right hand side, so I'm gathering all my numbers onto the right and all the x's onto the left. The plus 5 is going to go over to the other side and become minus 5. So 2x take away 3x is minus 1x. And minus 2 take away 5 is going to give you minus 7. Now we need to divide those to find out what x is. So x is equal to minus 7 divided by minus 1. Then two minuses cancel each other out. So then that's really just 7 divided by 1, and 7 divided by 1 is 7. So that means that x is equal to 7 centimetres. Now that still doesn't tell us what the perimeter of the rectangle is. We now need to take that 7 and put it in place of all of these x's in the rectangle. So if we're to add our way around the top side then, 2 times by 7 plus 5, well 2 sevens is 14 plus 5 means that that top side is 19 centimetres. And then we know this is 7 because it's just x, so the side is 7 centimetres, we're going to need to add that on. We have another 7 centimetres over here, so we'll add that on, that's the left hand side. And then at the bottom, now the top and the bottom are the same, so essentially we have another 19, but if you want to make sure you've solved this correctly, you could put the 7 in again. So let's put 7 in here. 3 times by 7, which is 14, or sorry, 3 sevens is 21, and then take away 2, which is equal to 19. So yes, we have solved these correctly because the top and the bottom both equal to 19. So we would need to add that up. So 9 and 9 is 18, 7 and 7 is 14, and 18 plus 14 is 32. And then we add 3, 4, 5, so this is 52 centimetres perimeter for this rectangle. Alright, so let's take a look at another question that you could come across. So again, we're involving shapes here. It says the perimeter, the diagram shows a rectangle and a triangle. So we've got a rectangle and a triangle, and it says the perimeter of the rectangle is equal to the perimeter of the triangle. So again, we've got that word equal, which means we'll be using this symbol, and we want the rectangle. It's telling us that the rectangle perimeter is the same or is equal to the triangle perimeter. Now, we need to work out the equation for the rectangle and the perimeter, and then we can solve that. So if we work our way around the rectangle, so the bottom side is 2x plus 7. The top side will also be 2x plus 7 because those are the same. At the right, it's x minus 5. So at the left, it'll be x minus 5. So if we put that all together, we've got 2x, 2x, that's 4. Another x there is 5, and another x there, which is 6. So the rectangle has 6x. Now let's factor in here the numbers as well. So we have plus 7 and plus 7, so that'll be 14. And then we want to take away 5 and take away another 5. So 14 take away a total of 10. So 14 take away 10 means there would be a plus 4 in there. So it's 6x plus 4 equals. Let's work our way around the triangle then. So we've got 2x, 2x, and an x. So that's 2 and 2 is 4 plus 1 is 5. So that's 5x. And then we also have this plus 11. So we're going to put our plus 11 onto the end there. Now we need to solve this to find out what x is, because that's our goal, is to find the value of x. So we're going to take our x's onto the left. So 6x stays where it is. 5x is positive at the moment. So if I bring it across the equals, it's going to become minus. That's minus 5x. On the right hand side, the 11 is staying where it is. The plus 4 is going to come over and become a minus 4. So 6x take away 5x. Well, that just leaves you with x. And 11 take away 4 is going to leave you with 7. So x is equal to 7, and we have found out what x is, and that's that question completed. Alright, we've got one more here involving a triangle. It says the diagram shows a right angle triangle. So that means if it's a right angle triangle, this here is 90 degrees, because the right angle is 90 degrees. All the angles are in degrees. Find the value of the size of the smallest angle in the triangle. So this here would be our smallest, and we want to find out what that is. And in order to do that, we need to find out what x is. Now, one thing you need to know here is that all the angles in a triangle add up to 180. So we need to find out what we have in total here, and then we know that that equals 180 degrees. So we've got a 3x here and a 2x here, which means we have a total of 5x. And we have 90 here on our right angle, and we have 10 there, so that is a total of 100, so plus 100. And that is all added up, and that equals 180. So we're going to solve this now. So leave our 5x there, and we're going to bring that plus 100 over to the other side, so 180, and we're going to minus 100, because when you change side, you change sign. So that means that 5x is equal to, well, 180, take away 100 leaves you with 80. And then in order to find x, we're going to take the multiply by 5 to the other side and make it divide by 5. So it's going to be 80 divided by 5, which means that x is equal to, well, 80 divided by 5 is 16. So x is equal to 16. Now it says find the value of the size of the smallest angle in the triangle. So we already discussed that that's this one here. But we need to put the 16 in because we know what x is, but we don't know what the value of that angle is. So let's put the 16 into this equation. So we're going to do 2 times by 16 plus 10. So 2 16s is 32 plus 10 means that the value of that smallest angle is 42 degrees. Okay, we have one more example to work through. So let's take a look at that. Adam has some marbles. We don't know how many. So we need to pick a letter for how many marbles he has. You could say S for some or M for marbles. I'm going to go with Adam has S. So I'm going to use S for that. Bradley has twice as many as Adam. So that means he has 2 of what Adam has. So that would be 2S. And Chris has 5 more than Bradley. Now we know Bradley has 2S. Chris has 5 more. So that would be 2S plus 5 more. Plus 5. So in total, they have 55 marbles. So we know that if we add them all up, we will get a total of 55. So let's put all our expressions together, our S, our 2S, and our 2S plus 5. So we've got S, and another 2S is 3S, plus another 2S would be 5S. So we've got 5 S's in total. Plus we have this 5, so we need to add that in, so plus 5. Now we just need to solve this equation, and that will tell us what S is. So 5S, and we're going to take the plus 5 over the other side and make it minus. So 55 minus 5. So 5S is equal to 50. Now we want to take the 5 over to the other side, and we're going to divide by it. So 50 divided by 5, which means S equals 10. So we now know how many Adam had because S was 10. That was our sum marbles. The sum marbles is turned out to be 10. Now, the question actually says how many marbles does Chris have? So Chris, he had 2S plus 5. So if S is 10, you're going to need to substitute that in and do 2 times by 10 because he had 2S plus the 5, which means 2 times by 10 is 20 plus 5 is 25. So Chris had 25 marbles. And if you wanted to check you had this right, well, we know that Adam had 10 because he had S. Chris, we've worked out, has got 25. Well, let's work out what Bradley had. So Bradley had 2S, which means he had 2 times by, and we know S is 10, so we had 2 times by 10, which is 20. So we now know what each boy has. Adam 10, Bradley 20, and Chris is 25. And it tells us in the question, in total they have 55 marbles. So those numbers should add up to 55 if we've done this right. And 25 plus 10 plus 20 does indeed add up to 55. So yes, we have done this question correctly.